Hey everybody, it's your battle buddy Mac Fergus once again. I'm bringing you part 2 of the Texas State Guard medals video. Real quick, I'm going to do a review of part 1 so you can see the medallions in case you missed it. But if you want to go in the deep dive, part 1 of the video does this for you. Part 2 is mainly focused on the ribbon materials and the drapings. But real fast, let's look at this part 1 summary, where you can see the difference in the Texas State Guard medals that are issued, the same ones that are sold online by the Texas State Guard supplier versus the Texas State Guard medals that I can get for you. On the left are the issued medals, and on the right are the ones that I can get for you. It is glaringly obvious as you look at these that there is a significant difference in quality of design, quality of material, overall quality between the two. So in the part 1 of the video, I encourage you to favor quality over costs. When it comes to this kind of stuff, the most important thing is to look your best. A couple of times I've talked about Moiré patterns, and I've shown you in this video and different videos examples of regulations that state that the ribbons for medals need to have a Moiré ribbon. And I didn't go super deep into what that was, but I'm going to do that now. You can see here a couple examples of it in a ribbon. Now, Moiré patterns go beyond ribbons. They exist in mathematics and physics and art, and that would be a whole video unto itself of all the things that is a Moiré pattern and how it's created. But let's focus on ribbons, and you'll see these on your federal award ribbons, these sort of wavy lines that reflect light. And whenever you move the medal around in the light, you see that it appears as if the lines are moving. So it's a real high quality effect, and you'll see this in very expensive materials. When purchasing medals, it's important to keep in mind that many of the medals out there are governed by regulations that require a Moiré ribbon. The federal ones, of course, and then the ones that are listed in the Texas Military Department Awards regulation, all of them. But I want to point out the Texas Cold War medal and the Texas State Guard Service medal, because there is a vendor out there selling these that are not draped in a Moiré ribbon. They also don't have the correct dimensions on the stripes on the ribbon either. So that's another part to look at when you're buying these ribbons. Make sure they line up with the regulations. Let's circle back to the example I showed from the Texas Military Department regulation that showed the requirement for a Moiré ribbon on the Texas Cold War medal. You'll notice that in the regulations, it also shows the requirement for the length and widths of the ribbons for each medal. And throughout the Texas Military Department regulation and the federal regulations, you'll see that's a pretty standard 1 3/8 inches long and 1 3/8 inches wide. So let's take a look at the issued medals and see if they line up with the standard of being 1 3/8 inches long. I am going to zoom in a little bit, but I think from this far out, you can already see that they're all different lengths, so there's no way they're all the correct 1 3/8 inches long, even if one of them is, the rest of them aren't. So let's look here. I'll put a red arrow to show you where the 1 3/8 inches line is, so you can see where the ribbon should dip down to. I'm also going to show you just real quick. The blue arrow points to the 1.5 inch line that's on my board. So none of these ribbons should even be touching that blue line on my board. But as you can see, all but one either touch or dip far below it. So one last thing on the topic of the length of the ribbons. Miniature medals have the same length ribbon as a full-size medal. That seems counterintuitive, but what makes it miniature is not changing the length of the ribbon, but it changes the width to 50%. So 50% of 1 3/8 is 11/16 of an inch, And also the medallion, whatever the medallion size is, full size, you reduce that by 50%. You can see here that this miniature medal for the Texas Outstanding Service Medal is still 1 3/8 inches long. What you got to watch out for is I've seen somebody online selling miniature Texas State Guard medals, and the ribbon drapes are much longer than 1 3/8 inches. Some of them are closer to 2 inches, which is a lot. And the problem with that is if you buy those and then you mount them with your TMD medals or you mount them with your federal medals, they're really going to stick out because they're going to hang down a half an inch or more lower than all the other ones, and that's not what you want. What I would recommend doing if you would want to save a couple dollars and buy miniature Texas State Guard medals from someone else is before you give them your money, reach out to them and ask them point blank, what are the measurements of the ribbon on this before I buy it? And if it's not 1 3/8 inches or within a hair of 1 3/8 inches, I wouldn't recommend buying it all because it's going to cause you more problems than is worth the few dollars that you're saving. Next, let's look at the different types of ribbon material you have to choose from when you're purchasing Texas State Guard medals. This is sort of a new concept for a lot of folks, even me. Back in the day when I was active duty, it was just the ribbon was the ribbon that came with the medal when you bought it from clothing sales or they issued it to you. But nowadays, especially with the Texas military medals, even the National Guard ones, there are vendors online selling ribbons and even medals draped with ribbons that are pretty low quality stuff. And I'm going to show you here what's available from me, what's available from other vendors, and that way at least you can make a decision between which one do you want. First, let's look at this Texas State Guard Meritorious Service Medal. First, you'll probably notice there's no shine to the ribbon at all. It's just kind of a plain cotton fabric, kind of rough to the touch, not very smooth. Also on the back, you'll see this clip. All the State Guard issued medals have this pin clip on the back, and they're pretty difficult to get off and mount the medal onto a mounting bar. But let's look at the silk ribbon I have. You notice the shiny Moiré pattern on it. I do my best to catch it with the camera. It looks better in real life, but you can still see it here on the camera. And I'll show you side by side. The left is the State Guard issue cotton, and the right is the silk ribbon that I like to use in my medals. I do have both. If you want to make a request for the cotton, just let me know if you do want me to make you one with a cotton ribbon instead of a silk ribbon. Sometimes I'll make some and put them online, but the important thing is, like I said before, I'll very specifically say this is for a medal with a cotton ribbon. But I think most folks would rather have this one here on the right, the nice silk ribbon with the nice Moiré pattern on it. That's what I'd recommend. Next, let's look at the Commanding General's Individual Award ribbon. On the right is the ribbon that I like to use, the silk with the Moiré pattern. That shows up really good with this color. And on the left, you can see just a dull, kind of itchy cotton that a lot of vendors are using and the Texas State Guard is issuing with. Then let's look at the Achievement Medal. Same thing. The right one is the silk with a good Moiré pattern, and the left is just plain cotton, kind of rough to the touch, doesn't shine as much, and wouldn't match up well if you did mount these with your National Guard medals or your federal medals. Lastly, this one is the bigger concern, the Commendation Medal ribbon. The one on the left, the first thing you notice is this white stripe on there, and that's something you see a lot with like your kids' junior high track and field medals where the ribbons are made overseas. But on mine, there's no white stripe on the side. This is a made in the USA ribbon, full quality silk with the Moiré pattern on it. You know what? But before I move on from this combination metal, I'm not going to name names, but one of the vendors online is selling these. It has the really bad white stripe on it. And what I've noticed they've done recently is they've photoshopped out that white stripe on their webpage. So they used to have a green background on their picture, and that really highlighted this white stripe. But I've noticed recently they cropped out the white stripe and they put it on a white background so that you wouldn't notice that it had a white stripe on it. So before you buy a Texas State Guard combination metal from a different vendor, I would reach out to them in an email and say, hey, before I buy this metal, does it have a weird white stripe on the side of it, like my kids' track and field medals have on theirs? Just a little tip from me to you. Again, I'm not here to throw people under the bus, but you should know that's what's happening out there. And one last thing to note about this combination metal ribbon is the blue is a little too light on it. If you look at the certificates that the Texas State Guard issues with this metal, as well as the TMD's online ribbon rack builder, both of those show that the blue is a little bit darker than you see in the Texas State Guard issue metal, but it's the right blue on my metal ribbon that I have. Let's take a second to go down a little bit of a side road here. The Texas Faithful Service Medal is not a Texas State Guard medal, but it is one of the Texas Military Department medals that members of the Texas State Guard are eligible to be awarded. And what I want to look at is on the right side is a strip of ribbon that you may have seen before. And then on the left side is the correct ribbon for the Texas Faithful Service Medal. And on the right, what I think probably happened was one of the big vendors had an order for the Texas Faithful Service Medal, and they looked around to see if they had something close enough on hand so they wouldn't have to weave a whole bunch of new ribbon. And I think somebody decided that this ribbon here on the right was indeed close enough. But if you'll look at it, you'll see that the middle stripe is sort of a weird orange color, as opposed to the medals on the left you'll see are what's called old gold. And I'll compare them, and you can see the orange versus the old gold. This large medal that I'm holding is one that was issued by the Texas Military Department. As you can see, the miniature medal and the full-size medal ribbon matches, but also this is the ribbon I use for assembling my Texas Faithful Service medals. And I can even make you a single ribbon from this if you like. Another issue with this ribbon on the right, besides being the wrong color, is it's not silk at all, and it doesn't have a moiré pattern like the regulation states. Whereas my miniature medal, as you can see, right color and moiré pattern on the ribbon. So buyer beware, watch out, make sure you have the right color on your Texas Faithful Service medal. All right, let's put it all together, the medals from part 1 and the ribbons from part 2, and compare them to what you would get issued to you. On the left is from McFergus Medals, nice moiré ribbon, nice detailed clean design on the medallion for the Commanding General's Individual Award. The Texas State Guard Achievement Medal, again on the left, nice moiré ribbon, better design on the medallion compared to the one on the right. And then lastly, Meritorious Service Medal. This is probably the biggest difference, not just the medal, but look at that ribbon. It looks really nice. So I think the difference in quality is not even close. When you try to make the comparison, you can see that there is no comparison. And for my final demonstration, let's bring the Texas State Guard medal face to face with its arch nemesis, the ribbon mount bar. Here's a single ribbon mount bar. It's pretty standard. What if you try to put a McFergus medal onto a ribbon mount bar? What happens? Slides right on. Nice and firm. That's going to stick. Then you want to take it off. Not too easy, but that's what you want. Firm grip, but it comes off without too much effort. The miniature metals, what about those? A lot of folks like mounting these miniature metals. Is that going to be a problem? Hey, no, not at all. There you go. Slides right on, and I bet you it's going to slide right off. There she goes. All right, what about this Texas State Guard issue metal? What are we going to do about this? All right, well, there's a pin thing in the way. So no problem, right? Just slip it out. Just use some pliers just in case. All right, so, oops, I broke it. Oh well, I'm not going to give up. Let's keep tugging on it, see if I can get this clip out of there. Because I'm sure once I get this clip off, it'll slide right onto a mounting bar, right? So that's going to be the hard part, is getting this clip out. So maybe I need a different approach to getting this clip out of here. Yeah, let's try this. Still using a lot of force. A little worried I'm going to tear something up. All right, let's try this. Sometimes you can use pliers. Let's see if that helps. Go all the way across it. Because even a tiny little bit clamped down too far is going to hold the thing in place. So I opened it. Let's see if I can push it down with the... Oh, almost hurt myself. Still not budging, so let me try to pry it open a little more. Like I said, go all the way across it. Won't slide out. Maybe I can pry it out. All right, it's coming loose. Here we go. Almost there. Okay. Too easy, right? Okay, so let's put this on a mounting bar so we can display it in our shadow box. Well, it's not hanging on too tight. Let me try a different angle. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. No, it's just wobbling all loose in there. Okay, let me try a different one. Maybe that's a bad ribbon bar. Here's a different ribbon bar that I've got some ribbons already mounted on. Nope, that's not staying. So probably for a lot of folks, this is going to be your favorite thing about MacFergus metals, is all of my metals you can slide easily onto a ribbon bar. All of my metals and ribbons are the correct size. They're not too wide, they're not too long. That might be what wins most of y'all over, even above the silk Moiré ribbon and the better designed medallions. All right, that's the end of this video. I hope everyone found it very informative and maybe a little bit entertaining. I don't know if that's too much to hope for. But the goal here is to make sure that everyone who buys a State of Texas award, especially a Texas State Guard award, is aware of all the options that are available. It's really not my concern if you want to get the issued medals with the cotton drapes, just so long as you know that that's the choice that you're making. That's what's important to me. But I think the overall theme of part 1 and part 2 of this video is, if you spend $9 on a medal, you're going to get a $9 medal. And if that's what you want, more power to you. So I hope everyone will keep following me here on YouTube, and also visit my webpage. You can see the latest information. I'm always getting new stuff all the time. And if there's something that you don't see, shoot me an email. It's on my website, and tell me what you're looking for. Maybe I can find it for you. I found some pretty far out, hard to find things for a couple of people so far. All right, thanks again for everyone's time. If I said something you disagree with, by all means put it in the comments, and then we can hug it out down there and come to a solution. Thanks again, everybody. MacFergus out.